I wasn't even supposed to be on a dating app that night. It was one of those evenings where nothing had gone right. Work had been exhausting, my friends were busy, and I was sitting alone in my apartment, scrolling through my phone just to kill time. I had downloaded the app weeks earlier, barely used it, and honestly forgot it was even still on my phone. That night, out of boredom more than anything else, I opened it. That's when I matched with Claire. Her profile felt normal, almost boring in a good way. No overly posed selfies, no filters that distorted her face. Just clean, well-lit photos, a couple of mirror shots, one at a beach, one sitting at a desk with a laptop. She said she worked freelance, lived nearby, and preferred real conversations over endless swiping. We started talking immediately, and I mean immediately. She replied within seconds every single time. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but even when I waited 10 or 15 minutes to respond, her replies came back instantly, like she was staring at the screen the entire time. Still, the conversation felt natural. She asked thoughtful questions, remembered small details. She didn't flirt aggressively or push things in a sexual direction. It felt calm, comfortable, almost intimate in a way that didn't feel forced. After 2 days of talking, she asked to move off the app. I suggested Instagram. She said she didn't use social media. I suggested texting. She hesitated, then agreed. That should have been the first real red flag. Her number had a local area code, which made me feel better. We continued texting for another few days, and slowly the conversation became more personal. Past relationships, fears, things we didn't usually tell strangers. She opened up a lot, too much, too fast. She talked about being lonely, about not trusting people easily, about how men usually disappear once things get real. I reassured her I shouldn't have. After about a week, I asked if she wanted to meet up. Her response took longer than usual. When she finally replied, she said she'd love to, but only somewhere quiet. No bars, she said, no crowded places. I suggested a cafe. She said she didn't like being seen. That wording stuck with me. I asked what she meant, and she brushed it off, saying she had social anxiety and preferred private spaces. I tried to be accommodating, so I suggested a park during the afternoon. Open, public, but not overwhelming. She said no. Then she suggested her place. I laughed it off at first, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. She said she felt safer in her own space and promised it wouldn't be weird. That was the moment I started feeling uneasy. I told her I'd rather meet in public first, just once, even briefly. She didn't respond for almost an hour. When she did, her tone had completely changed. She said she was disappointed, said she thought I trusted her. Said maybe I was like the others. I felt guilty. Against my better judgment, I tried to compromise. I suggested a small diner near her neighborhood. She finally agreed. We set a date for Friday night. Friday came, and about an hour before we were supposed to meet, she texted me, "I'm already here." That confused me because I was still at home getting ready. I asked which diner she meant. She sent the address. It wasn't the place we agreed on. It was closer to my apartment, much closer. I pointed that out, and she said she must have gotten mixed up and suggested we just meet there instead. I hesitated. Then she sent another message. "I can see your building from here." My heart dropped. I asked her what she meant. She said she was just joking. I told her I wasn't comfortable and that we should reschedule. She replied almost instantly, Why are you scared?" I didn't respond. I locked my phone and sat on my couch, trying to calm my breathing. I told myself I was overthinking everything, that she probably meant nothing by it. Then my phone buzzed again. A photo. It was a picture of my apartment building, taken from across the street. I stood up so fast, I nearly knocked over the coffee table. I asked her where she was. No response. I grabbed my keys, thinking I'd leave and go somewhere public, anywhere with people. Before I reached the door, there was a knock. 3 slow knocks. I froze. My phone buzzed again. "I'm right here. We don't need to go anywhere." I didn't answer the door. The knocking started again, louder this time. I backed away, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Then, suddenly, silence. I waited for what felt like forever before peeking through the peephole. No one was there. I spent the rest of the night awake, lights on, sitting on my bed with my phone in my hand. The next morning, her number was disconnected. Her dating profile was gone. Everything erased. Except for one thing. Tucked under my door was a folded piece of paper. Written in neat handwriting, it said, "You shouldn't have led me on." I moved out of that apartment 2 weeks later, and I never used a dating app again. I matched with Ava during a stretch of nights where sleep just wouldn't come. I worked late hours, remote job, odd deadlines, so my routine had become predictable. Log off around midnight, microwave something, sit on the couch scrolling until my eyes hurt. Dating apps felt like background noise more than anything meaningful. Ava's profile didn't scream fake. 4 photos. Nothing glamorous. One selfie in a hoodie, one picture of a dog I assumed was hers, one blurry mirror shot, and one of a city skyline at night. Her bio was short, bad at bios, better at conversations. She messaged first. Not a pickup line, not a compliment. Just, "Are you up late too?" That felt relatable. We talked that entire night. Music, work, random childhood memories. She had this calm, steady way of responding that made the conversation feel easy. She used voice notes sometimes, which made it feel more real. Her voice was soft, slightly raspy, and oddly comforting. But she never sent selfies beyond what was already on her profile. I didn't think much of it at first. After a few days, our conversations shifted into a routine. She messaged around the same time every night, 12:17 a.m. on the dot. At first, I joked about it, saying she had good timing. She replied, "I just know when you're free." Something about that sat wrong with me, but I brushed it off. A week in, I suggested we FaceTime. She avoided it. Said she hated seeing herself on camera. Said it made her anxious. Said maybe later. I didn't push. Then one night, while we were texting, she sent a voice note. "I like that you always sit on the left side of your couch." I stared at my phone. I typed back, "What?" She followed up quickly with laughter in text form, saying she just guessed. Said most people had a favorite spot. I told myself she got lucky, but after that, things started adding up. She knew when I showered, knew when I ordered food, knew when I stayed up later than usual. One night she asked, "Why didn't you cook tonight?" I hadn't mentioned dinner at all. I asked her how she knew. She replied, "I just feel it sometimes." I stopped responding for a bit after that. The next evening, she messaged earlier than usual. "You didn't sit on the couch last night." That's when my stomach dropped. I asked her what she meant. She said, "You went straight to bed." I checked my apartment. Locked doors, closed windows, nothing out of place. I told myself she was guessing again. I asked where she lived. She said, not far. I asked if she wanted to meet somewhere public. She paused, then replied with a voice note. I don't think you'd like seeing me in person. There was something off in her tone. Not sadness, not insecurity, something closer to certainty. That night, I muted the chat and went to sleep. Around 3:30 a.m., I woke up to my phone vibrating. Missed call from Ava. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. Then another call came in. I declined it. A text followed. You left the light on in the kitchen. I sat up in bed, my entire body cold. I slowly got up and looked down the hallway. The kitchen light was on. I hadn't turned it on. I grabbed my phone and typed, "This isn't funny." No response. Then my phone rang again. I answered without thinking. Her voice came through the speaker, calm as ever. I told you I know your routine. I demanded to know where she was. She laughed softly, close enough to hear your floor creak when you walk. I hung up and locked myself in the bathroom. I called the police. While I was on the phone with the dispatcher, my phone buzzed again. A photo taken from inside my apartment hallway, facing the bathroom door. I screamed. The police arrived within minutes. They searched the apartment. Found nothing. No sign of forced entry. They asked if I had invited anyone over recently. I said no. They told me to block the number. I did. The next morning, her dating profile was gone. Her number disconnected. I thought it was over. 3 days later, I got a voicemail from an unknown number. Her voice. I liked you better when you didn't ask questions. I moved out a month later. To this day, I still don't know how she got inside my apartment, or how long she had been watching before I ever matched with her. I met Nina on a dating app during a period where my life felt painfully routine. Same commute, same coffee shop every morning, same quiet evenings scrolling my phone in bed. I wasn't desperate for a relationship. I was just tired of feeling like every day blended into the next. Nina stood out because she didn't try too hard. Her profile photos were casual. No heavy makeup, no dramatic angles, just normal pictures that looked like they were taken by friends, not curated for attention. Her bio said she worked nights at a medical lab and had a terrible sleep schedule. That alone made sense to me. We started talking, mostly late at night. Long conversations that drifted from stupid memes to deep, personal topics without feeling forced. She was funny, sharp, and oddly observant. She noticed small details in my stories and would bring them up days later. After a week, she followed me on Instagram. Her account looked real, years old. Photos dating back at least 5 years. Comments from friends. Tagged pictures. Nothing suspicious. That's what made everything worse later. We never met in person, but not because I didn't try. Every time I suggested grabbing coffee or food, she had a reason. Night shifts, exhaustion, family stuff. She always promised soon. Eventually, I stopped pushing. We weren't exclusive. We hadn't talked about labels, but we talked every day. It felt like a slow-building thing that just hadn't reached the meeting stage yet. Then one night, I posted an Instagram story. Just a random photo of my TV and a caption about rewatching an old show. A few minutes later, Nina replied, "Why are you watching that episode again?" I blinked. I asked how she knew which episode it was. She said she remembered me mentioning it weeks ago. That explanation made sense until I checked my messages. I had never told her that. I shrugged it off. Later that same night, I posted another story, a picture of my cat sitting on the windowsill. She replied instantly, "Close the window. It's colder than you think." I frowned. I hadn't mentioned the temperature. I brushed it off again, telling myself I was reading too much into it. The next morning, I woke up to a follow request. Different username. No profile picture. I declined it. A few minutes later, another request came in. Different name again. I declined that one too. Then, a DM popped up from Nina. "Why didn't you accept my other account?" I stared at the screen. I asked what she meant. She said she had a backup account in case she ever lost access to her main one. I told her that was fine, but she could have just told me first. She sent a laughing emoji and apologized. I accepted the request. That was a mistake. The backup account had no posts, no bio, no tagged photos, just one follower, me. From that point on, the messages started getting strange. She'd reply to my stories before I even posted them publicly. She'd comment on things I hadn't shared anywhere. One night, she messaged me saying, "You should really fix that loose lock." I asked what lock. She replied, "Your front door." I felt a cold wave wash over me. I asked how she knew about my door. She took a long time to respond, then finally said, "You told me about it once." I checked our entire chat history. I never did. I confronted her about it. She apologized again, but this time her messages felt different. Shorter. Defensive. That night, I locked all my doors and windows before bed. Around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. A DM from the backup account. "You forgot the bathroom window." My heart started pounding. I got up slowly and checked. The bathroom window was unlocked. I locked it and sat on the edge of the tub, shaking. I messaged Nina, demanding to know what was going on. Her response came from the backup account. "Why are you acting like this?" "I'm just looking out for you." I blocked both accounts. Immediately, I thought that would be the end of it. The next morning, there was a message request from a new account. No name, no photo, just text. "You can block me online, but not here." I didn't respond. I deleted the apps. I stayed off social media entirely for days. On the fourth day, I came home from work and noticed something taped to my door. A printed screenshot. It was my Instagram story from earlier that week. The one with my cat. On the back, written in pen, were the words, "You should listen when I warn you." I called the police. They took a report but told me there wasn't much they could do without a suspect or clear threat. That night, I stayed at a friend's place. When I returned 2 days later, my apartment was exactly the same. Nothing missing, nothing damaged, except for my bathroom mirror. Written in the steam-resistant film was a message I know wasn't there before. "I don't need an account to watch you." I moved out a week later. I deleted every dating app, every social media account. And to this day, I still wonder how long Nina had been watching before I ever matched with her. I had been using dating apps on and off for years without anything particularly memorable happening. A few awkward conversations. A couple of bad dates. Nothing worse than mild disappointment. So when I matched with Lauren, I didn't expect anything unusual. Her profile looked completely legitimate. Professional photos mixed with casual ones, a short bio about working in real estate, and a handful of interests that felt intentionally normal. We started talking on a Tuesday. Lauren was confident, but not in an aggressive way. She knew how to keep a conversation going without oversharing. She asked about my work, my schedule, what part of town I lived in. I answered casually, not thinking much of it. When I asked the same questions back, her answers were vague. She lived around here, worked with clients all over, moved a lot. I didn't press. After 3 days of messaging, she suggested we meet. That alone felt refreshing. She picked the place, a mid-range restaurant inside a hotel downtown. Public, busy, well-lit, no red flags. We agreed on Friday night at 8 p.m., the day of the date. She messaged me that morning saying she was excited and asked me to send a picture of what I was wearing so she could spot me easily. I thought it was a little strange, but I sent a quick mirror photo before heading out. She replied almost instantly, "Perfect, I'll recognize you right away." I arrived early and took a seat near the bar, facing the entrance. The restaurant was busy, business travelers, couples, hotel guests coming and going. I texted her that I was there. She didn't respond. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I checked the app. Her profile was still active. At around 8:15, I got a message. "I'm here, just not where you think." I asked what she meant. No response. I scanned the room again. That's when a man approached me. He looked like he was in his late 30s. Average height. Slightly overweight. Dressed casually, too casually for the restaurant. He asked if my name was Ryan. I said yes. He smiled and said, "Lauren asked me to come say hi." I immediately felt uneasy. I asked where she was. He gestured vaguely toward the elevators and said she was finishing up something upstairs. I told him I wasn't comfortable with that and asked him to have her come down herself. He frowned like I'd inconvenienced him. "She just didn't want to make things awkward," he said. "She wanted to see how you felt first." I stood up and told him to tell her I was leaving. That's when his demeanor changed. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. "She already knows how you feel. You sent the picture." My stomach dropped. I asked how he knew about the photo. He smiled again, wider this time. "She shows me everything." I walked away immediately, heading toward the front desk. I didn't look back until I was outside the restaurant, breathing in cold air like I'd just escaped something. Once I was in my car, my phone buzzed. A message from Lauren. "Why did you walk away from him?" I demanded to know who that man was. She replied, "Someone I trust." I told her she crossed a line and that I wasn't interested anymore. She didn't argue. She just sent one last message. "You shouldn't be rude to people who help me." I blocked her. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. The next morning, I got a message from an unknown number. "Did you get home safe?" I didn't respond. Another message came in. "You parked on level 3, near the stairwell." I reported the number and blocked it. That afternoon, while at work, I got an email notification. Someone had tried to reset my dating app password. Then my email. Then my social media accounts. I changed all my passwords immediately. That night, as I pulled into my apartment complex, I noticed a car parked across from my building. Engine running, headlights off. I tried to ignore it. When I reached my door, something was taped to it. A printed copy of the photo I'd sent Lauren. On the back, written in thick black marker, were the words, "You look better in person." I didn't sleep in my apartment that night. I stayed with a friend and filed a police report the next morning. There wasn't much they could do. No direct threats. No clear identity. A week later, I got one final message request on a brand new dating profile. No photos. No bio. Just one line. "Next time, don't leave before the introduction." I deleted every app that same day. Because whatever Lauren was, whether she was real or just a name someone used, it was clear one thing had been planned from the start. I was never supposed to meet her. I was supposed to meet him. And I still don't know what would have happened if I stayed seated a few minutes longer.